And if we stop thinking that like video games are a boy thing, then it won't feel so weird or out of place to see a woman playing games.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Who's Joe YouTube Edition.
Streaming, because you can stream anything. Oh, yikes. Okay. That, and please don't flirt with women on Twitch. Not what they're there for.
Today I am here with Jahara, and why don't you go ahead and tell us a little about yourself?
Hi, I'm Jahara. I am a content creator and a cosplayer, primarily streaming on Twitch and cosplaying on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. I'm also a Japanese teacher and a mom. Nice to be here.
Wonderful. I'm so happy to have you here. And one thing I've started doing just to kind of get the engagement factor up is I've started asking a question before we go into the typical first staring contest question. And that first question before the first question is going to be, I know that you do some cosplay. So this is a multi-pronged question. What is your favorite character to cosplay, and how do you think they would approach a staring contest?
Well, my favorite character to cosplay is Princess Zelda from The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. And she has a lot of iterations, but I'll go with her most recent one, which is her Breath of the Wild version. And I think that she would think it was silly and refuse to participate. But if you counted down and started the contest, she would 100% participate. And then when she lost, she would become frustrated and insist that we go for another round until she wins. Because I think she's secretly quite competitive and just a little bit silly, but tries to hide it because she has to be all princessy all the time.
Well, I know I'm competitive. How about you?
I'm quite competitive. I don't know. I haven't done a staring contest in a long time, so I'm trying to meter my expectations on how long I can keep my eyes open, but we'll see.
So let's go ahead and go into our typical first question. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you our typical first question. I'm going to count you down from 5, and we will start the staring contest when you start answering the first question.
Okay, sounds good.
So if you could collaborate with anybody on anything, who would it be? And we'll go ahead and start that countdown from 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
If I could collaborate with anyone on anything, I think it would be Yoshi P and Square Enix. Anything having to do with Final Fantasy 14 or any of the Final Fantasies going forward would make me really happy. Oh no, this is really hard. I'm pretty sure I already blinked. Yeah, Square Enix for sure. Yoshi P for sure.
Well, you're doing
really difficult.
You're doing really good so far. I can't tell if you've blinked or not. You've got that very closed but not closed eye approach going on.
I'm looking at you. I'm done. I'm done. Whew.
Those of you who have watched my videos before know at this point I am going to attempt to go the rest of the interview without blinking as well.
Oh. Yikes. Okay.
So why don't you tell my viewers who might not know a little about Crush It Queens?
Oh, yes, my podcast. I've been on a hiatus right now, but I really want to bring it back. It's a podcast that I was doing in which I interview other women in the gaming and creative space about how they got started, how they got to where they are now, and goals on where they're going. And the idea is just that, especially in the gaming space, women aren't particularly prevalent. And even when in areas that we still face a lot of ridicule as being fake fans or only popular for physical appearance and not actually for skill or putting any sort of talent into the craft that we do. So I like interviewing streamers and artists, gamers, just all of those creative outlets, and just kind of give people an instance into how you can get started where everybody started. Because sometimes after you see someone when they're already what we might feel is kind of big, you just have no idea that they could have started just in the same place that you are now, and you have just as much of a chance as they do. So it's really fun getting to know other women in the space that way.
It's an awesome concept, especially because how widely known it is that women streamers are treated differently than men streamers. It's correct. It's just a fact. Women streamers, especially women streamers of color, get fewer opportunities, get paid less, just overall do not have the chances that men streamers do. What do you think as a whole that we can do about that to fix that imbalance?
Well, a lot of it comes from, and when a lot of times people think of streaming, they think of gaming. So a lot of that comes from like the gaming industry in and of itself. So if I kind of like segue us into like the gaming portion of streaming, because you can stream anything, of course, like you can stream yourself gardening or knitting, but a lot of people think of like playing video games and streaming. And a lot of that misogyny comes from the idea that like video games are a boy thing, first of all. And so that any girl that has played video games is one, probably been introduced to it through a significant other, like a boyfriend or a husband, or that they only play games to gain the attention of men because it's a popular hobby among men, and that they couldn't just simply have their own innate interest in the games that they're playing. And because of that, a lot of people, if they see women, when they see women on Twitch, assume that they can come from either an area of like higher expertise, or that the woman is just there to be catcalled, or to you can comment on her appearance and that's really what she wants to hear. You can flirt with her. And I think if we made kind of a shift that's like video games, especially with the way they've evolved over the years, are I mean, the video game industry is nearly as large, if not larger, than the movie industry. There's just so many different types. There's so many different things, and they're amazing, and they should be celebrated across genders and orientations. And if we stop thinking that like video games are a boy thing, then it won't feel so weird or out of place to see a woman playing games, streaming it online. She's just sharing her hobbies with people, just as if any man would share their hobbies with people, and they can be just as skilled at it as somebody else. At the same time, some people think that, or because streaming video games became really popularized based on streamers that were really, really skilled at the game, especially like in competitive games like a lot of MMOs like WoW and League of Legends, or like Call of Duty and things like that. And then it started to become more widespread and more known to like people can stream just to be enjoyable, and someone that you can, a personality that you can talk to and relate to, that people will think that, oh, this woman is streaming and she's not getting like 50 headshots the entire time. It's like not everybody plays video games or streams video games to be the person you go to for tips on the video game, or like tips and tricks, or to watch them break another record. Like you can watch someone play a video game on easy and just enjoy it. Like that's a thing that's okay to do now, where streaming used to be more like competitive and like about like the top people in each game that you watched. It's not like that anymore. Those people still exist, of course, and they're like the cornerstone of the market. But like there's a lot of ridicule, especially with women. It's like, oh, you're playing on easy, or this game isn't very hard to begin with, or you're not very good at it. And it's like, who cares? Like, since it's not a pro sport, like it's not you don't have to be excellent at it to be in the field. That's not how this works. So yeah, I think just some mind shifts there. Like you don't have to be great at the game. People can just be there to be sharing their hobbies, and video games are 100% for everyone. Would really help. That, and please don't flirt with women on Twitch. Not what they're there for.
Oh, I agree. And I also agree that you don't have to be a pro gamer to be a streamer. Like one of my favorite streamers, and he was actually in my previous staring contest video, is Action Jackson. And I love Action Jackson not because he's a good gamer, but he is a good gamer. But I love Action Jackson because he's hilarious. Him and the group of people he play with are absolutely hilarious. Well, tell me what it was like to be part of the D&D session with Chelsea Bites for Black Friday.
That was so much fun. I was so nervous. Had never played D&D ahead of time. Prior to that, Chelsea reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to do a D&D session with her for Black Friday, and I immediately said yes, because I absolutely adore Chelsea and I will participate in any project that she wants me to be in. But even though I was like, I have no experience, but I will learn to do this. And honestly, I had mentioned on my stream, but I was like, this year I really leaned into a lot of the stuff that I'd found kind of interesting growing up, but was too, for the lack of a better word, bullied out of, to like really lean into when I was younger. Like, I really liked anime and Japanese things, and I eventually studied abroad in Japan. But when I was in school, like I was made fun of constantly for liking stuff like that. And then so I got to college, and I remember I worked at a restaurant, on my college campus, and there were some tables on the out area, and every like weekend there was a session of like a big club of D&D players that would play on the tables outside the restaurant I worked at. So I would see it pretty often, and I thought it was interesting because I grew up in the theater and doing at least 2 to 3 plays every year since from like 5 years old to 18 years old. So I was like, well, I love acting and I like fantasy stuff and anime. And so it's like, it seems pretty cool that you would just like sit down and like get to basically like act out this scene. But obviously it's still considered very nerdy, very niche of a hobby. So I was like, I wouldn't even know how to like approach that or who to talk to. So I just never did. So when Chelsea asked me, I was like, finally, like it's so many years later, but I was like, I can finally try. And it was so much fun getting to like, we literally all wrote full on backstories for each of our characters, like where they came from, why they are the way that they are. And we got to take that character and put them in a scenario and act it out. And I 100% plan on doing it again. It's so much fun.
Watching that stream was so much fun. Y'all absolutely killed it.
Thanks. You're having so much fun with all of the voices, and like I had no idea what kind of story Chelsea was going to put us into. So it's like a fun improv thing of just like going with it, I guess. And everyone was so good at playing off of each other and not like shutting down anybody's like reactions. Everyone just like went with that. It was really cool. It was a really fun thing to be a part of. It was nice.
I know you play Final Fantasy on your stream.
Mm-hmm.
What Final Fantasy character do you think would be best at streaming?
You know, I think that a really good streaming personality. I've only gotten to Stormblood so far, but there's a character that was in the Crystal Tower arc named Grahatia, and he's a Mikote character, um, a cat boy, and he was just like super like charismatic and like goofy and fun and loud, and I think that he would be like a perfect streaming character. I think the rest of them might be a little bit too stiff to be good at streaming. I think that people would really enjoy watching a stream run by Grahatia. There's also Hien, who is the leader of Doma, and I think that he would be a really good streamer. Him, Grahatia, yeah, I think those would be the two best ones. I would watch their streams any day.
Awesome. So, obviously, you're a cosplayer. We've mentioned that a couple times in the interview so far. But how do you try to incorporate your cosplay into your stream?
Well, typically I would just wear my cosplay during my stream. I used to do it where I actually started cosplaying for streams. I would cosplay specifically to wear it during stream, but now I cosplay out of stream all the time. So most of the time when you catch me cosplaying and streaming at the same time, it's because I was cosplaying earlier for other content. And it takes a long time to put on a cosplay between like the wigs and the contacts and if the ears or other appendages and then the costume. So if I put on a cosplay that day, I'm usually going to wear it until I go to bed because it's just too much of a hassle to change out of it from all the work that you did. So I wear it during stream. It's also fun to talk to the viewers about like suggestions for like upcoming cosplays, especially like if I'm playing a game, because that's where I decided to do Zelda was I was playing Breath of the Wild and they were like, you should do Princess Zelda. And I was like, okay. So like it's fun to get those suggestions directly from everybody in stream and then like find characters in the games that we're playing currently that would be fun for me to do. So I've already gotten a few suggestions from 14 for characters people want me to cosplay. The only thing about 14 is that their costumes are much more intricate, so it's a little bit slower going.
I'd imagine. I can't even imagine how much time that must take to not only just put it on, but to put it all together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sometimes it's either a lot of time and effort or it's just really expensive. It depends on which one you want to do. Oh.
Understood. Do you have a favorite moment from since you've been streaming?
A favorite moment since I've been streaming? Probably my birthday stream. And the reason I liked my birthday stream was it was a great opportunity for me to see just a lot of people came through and said hello and like the happy birthday wishes. Also, everybody felt like it was a good time to like say really nice things. So that was cool to see the community come together. And I also been someone who's never had like a lot of friends. So to be, and I haven't had a party for myself. I turned 30. I hadn't had a party for myself since I was in my early 20s. So it was the first time I'd had a party in like actual years. But then also, everyone surprised me by making a video of several of my friends, both streamers and non-streamers, recorded like segments of like saying, giving me a message. And it was a complete surprise. I was very taken by surprise. And the words were very kind. And it was like a full on ugly cry.
And you're a Twitch partner now, aren't you?
I am. I am. Mm-hmm.
Congratulations. That is definitely quite the accomplishment.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm very excited about it.
Well, you should be. You should be. Where do you see yourself as a content creator in about 5 years from now?
Well, if I was thinking ideally, my goal is to continue to keep streaming games, but I also want to do more cosplay creation because as I've done more into lean more into cosplay, I've realized there are only a few larger names of cosplayers that are women of color, and we just like streamers face a very specific set of ridicule to deal with. But also in what I've been doing, I've received a lot of messages both in person or on stream or even emails from people that have let me know that they have wanted to cosplay or wanted to try and they have not because they've either been afraid of the backlash that they would receive or have directly heard backlash from their friend circles that they can't cosplay certain characters because they're not black and that character is not canonically black, right? Like them, and they feel like they've been held back by the color of their skin and doing something that they think would be fun, and that seeing me was the amount of inspiration that they needed, and now they bought the costume or they bought the wig or they told their friends they were wrong. And to have those moments have been like so intensely life-changing that in 5 years I want to have my Twitch, but I would also like to have like a YouTube channel that's based on like content creation and cosplay, and be at a point in terms of cosplay where I can make all of my own stuff would be really nice. I make some of my cosplays, but I buy some of them as well. I'd like to get to a point where I can do like full on like accessory and weapon crafting and costume making and things like that, and then put that on YouTube, but also have it talk about like gaming and being a Black woman in the space. And just kind of, there's not, when you kind of look into the gaming space and content creation, when you look at people that are really, really big in that area right now, there's just nobody that looks like me or looks like us yet. So it would be cool. I volunteer as tribute to try and be that person. It's a lot of work, but it would be cool if I could do that.
Well, I think you can get there. I think if anybody can knock down some of those doors and open some of those gates to get rid of the gatekeeping, it's preventing people from entering that space. I think you're probably one of the ones on the forefront of doing that.
I appreciate that.
And I also can see how you wanting to be able to make more of your own stuff would make sense for you, because then that would open up a whole new world of customization outside of just what is readily available.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I find that there's a lot of costumes that I've wanted to do that I can't because I can't find anybody that makes them yet. And I don't yet have the skill to achieve it myself. So I would like to be able to like baby step my way into making things so that I don't have those limits imposed upon myself. That'd be really nice.
If you could go back to yourself at 15 years old, knowing what you know now, what's one thing you would tell yourself?
If I could go back to my 15-year-old self, knowing what I know now, I would probably have told myself to start earlier because I was interested in content creation from a very young age. And it's funny because all the way up until recently, and even now, it's an issue that I deal with. Even when I was in theater and people were like, "Oh, you must want to be an actress." My response when I was a kid, I was weirdly level-headed, was always like, "I don't want to be an actress. I love acting, but I can't imagine putting myself in the public eye and having to deal with the ridicule of other people." And I was always really held back by the idea that like people would be able to freely criticize me and I wouldn't be able to do anything about that. And my personal life would be seen as something that's consumable and by the public. And I really didn't like that. And so even over the years as I watched YouTube and I was like, I would like to do something, or like, or I should have done this, or I should have tried something like this. This is a great idea. And like, this is what I could have been doing. Like there's a lot of people that stream that did videos while they were in Japan. I was living in Japan. And there's like people that are look like, there's a few that look like me, that get a lot of comments like, I never knew. And it's like, I was there. I could have done the video, but I was always too afraid of what other people would say. And I think I would tell my 15-year-old self to just like, you love it enough to deal with it. Like, I didn't think that I liked it enough to be able to deal with it, but I do.
Well, I guess we've hit the point where I'm going to get you to say, I was not able to beat Joe in a staring contest.
All right. Well, I was not able to beat Joe in a staring contest.
I am now 36-0, and one thing I'm going to ask you to do, which I've done for the previous videos, is I'm going to ask you to call out somebody else to come on and be a guest and go up against me in one of these staring contest videos.
Okay, then I would like to call out my friend Reality, who is also a Twitch streamer, and an alien who is down on Earth, who is analyzing humans and our way of life so that she can take over the world in the future. It'll be good.
Well, Reality, if you'd be willing to come on and be a guest in one of my videos, I would love to have you. I would love to go up against you in one of these staring contests. And if you're an alien, then maybe you'll have a better chance at winning.
You never know.
I have now gone 37 minutes without blinking.
That's really intense. I'm actually kind of worried.
So what do you have going on? What do you have to talk about? What do you have to plug?
Well, at the moment, I'm trying to build my Instagram. So my Instagram is JaharaJJ, and I always would love to have you over on my Twitch, which is JaharaJ. The J's are my last name. Twitch is the best way if you ever want to just like talk to me like face to face and have conversations, because I'm super interactive with my chat. But other than that, the next best way to like have a conversation or see that I reply is my Twitter, which is Jahara Twitch. But yeah, trying to grow my Instagram and going doing videos over there, and I'll let y'all know when I start working on that YouTube channel. But YouTube is a whole other intimidating monster that we'll get to.
Oh, I understand. I'm slowly growing my channel. I'm still a very, very small fish in a ginormous ocean.
Big one.
Well, I will put a link to your Twitch, your Twitter, and your Instagram all in the video description.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Well, that's going to be it for another episode of Who's Joe YouTube Edition. If you haven't already liked the video, go ahead and do that. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do that. If you haven't already gone to Jahara's Twitch and followed her there, gone to her Twitter and followed her there, pause the video, go ahead and do it right now. We'll just kind of stare at you until you do it. Alrighty. There will be one video down here at the bottom left that I've recommended, one video down here at the bottom right that YouTube has recommended. Watch one of them, watch both of them, watch all of them. Watch Jahara on Twitch, and we will see you the next time.